Hey guys, we'll get started with the podcast in a second. I'm trying to get Keli and Apri in here, so just give me a few minutes and then we can start, doing the podcast.
Connected to server. Now in the private channel.
Hey Keli, what's going on? Are you there, Keli? Okay, I think Keli and Mark are going to be pretty late, so I'll go ahead and get started. If you guys have any questions, please feel free at any time to ask them in the stream chat, Twitch chat. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions I can answer if I have knowledge about them or I'm allowed to answer any questions. I'll be glad to. But I guess I'll just kind of talk about some things new in DAOC. I guess many of you may have seen recently they put out a newsletter, which I think they're going to start doing that relatively frequently. I think I read every 2 weeks or so, or once every month. I have to go back and check on that, but I think that's good news. Gives the community, the players, a little bit of developer interaction. Kind of keeps the players involved and kind of lets them know what's going on in the game, which is good. This last one that released, or that was put out in the newsletter, just pretty much basically talked about the current event, which was the Harbinger. We had the VG a couple weekends ago, or a couple weeks ago, I guess. It wasn't during the weekend. Lasted Monday through Friday with the bunny inside the center keep, and then the bunny is now moved to Agramon. And I believe it was supposed to go away this last Friday, but unfortunately we had that downtime Friday evening. So I noticed it was still in the frontier yesterday. I don't know if they've taken it out yet or not. I haven't been on Agra much today. But yeah. And then we had the patch, which fixed a couple bugs. And then we had a patch to fix we had a patch to fix the bugs that were caused by the bug fixed patch, if that makes any sense. So that happened later this week as well. Yeah, and the newsletter also talks about the recent official DAOC stream, which has been going pretty well, I think. There's several streamers, I think about 10 or a little more than 10, that stream various different types of play styles. We have a bunch of PvE, we have some solo RVR, some group RVR, some stealthers, all sorts of stuff. We even have Carol, which is Bevan. She flies around in developer point of view, essentially, and shows us what's going on in the game, which I think that's, kind of cool. But yeah, I think this is kind of helping bring some attention to the game, at least on the Twitch front. I know when I stream on my personal channel and when I do stream on the official channel, I get people that have either, one, quit the game a long time ago and, see it on Twitch. They come back and ask some questions, see how it is now. Maybe it piques their interest. And I have a bunch of people that have never seen the game, ask, what game is this? What's going on here? So I think it's probably a good thing as far as, it's a little bit of marketing. It's not much, but it helps the game, I think. It's pretty exciting. And on top of that, we also have the newsletter talked about the casual group finder, which not been a great addition, I don't think. It's not where it needs to be yet. Still working on it. Still seeing what we can do to make it a little more usable. Gonna tie it in, I think, a little bit more to the UI and kind of make it a little bit more useful as far as finding certain classes. And that brings me also, the newsletter also mentions an upcoming change in the UI, which, the UI's always been sort of a talking point from players. People always want to know when Broadsword, or Mythic in the Path, is going to, someone hopped in vent. Nice, okay, hold on, I think we have Saxona joining us soon.
Has joined the channel.
Hey Sax, what's going on?
Hello.
Hey. Just, I think Keli is AFK.
Loud.
I'm loud?
Let me just turn everything down.
Okay.
All right. Have you started the stream yet?
Yeah, I've actually, I think Keli's AFK at the moment, but I've gone through some of the newsletter to kind of talked about a couple things here and there. Just sort of, telling them what's going on, what's new, I guess, with the game.
Oh, yeah?
But I think Mark's about to join us as well, so that'll be nice.
Yeah, I just saw him join IRC.
Yeah, just gave him event info, so he should be popping in a second. We don't have a ton of viewers right now in the stream, so not a ton of questions coming, but maybe it'll pick up soon.
All right. So what have you gone through in the newsletter so far? The whole thing, or?
Nope. I'm about to get to the UI part, just kind of talking about that. We talked about a little bit of the casual group finder, how it was kind of not a success, I guess. It still needs a little bit of work to become, where it needs to be.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little bit of a disappointment, but the good thing is I believe Broadsword are, focusing on working on that and making it more usable. We'll just have to see what they come up with and see what suggestions we can give.
With butter has connected.
Talked a little bit about the Twitch streams. I think that's helping at least put out a little bit of awareness about Dark Age of Camelot out there. Because when I stream, I know I get a lot of people that either one don't play the game
I
and
eat souls
are
with
discovering
butter.
it, or
Has joined the
are coming
channel.
back to the game, or have an interest in coming back, kind of seeing what's going on with it.
Yeah, I've noticed quite a bit of Gaheris players coming back because of when I was streaming Gaheris. Like,
Right.
there's a lot of people sending me messages saying, "Hey, I came back because you were streaming."
Hmm. I really like your Gahara stream. It's nice, relaxing. It's see some of the stuff I haven't done in years. I think I watched the city raid you had, killing APOC and stuff the other day. It's pretty.
Oh yeah,
exciting.
that was cool.
Yeah.
We I think we did TG as well, but I kind of had to cut it out at the end because it was taking too long,
Right.
and I was cutting into Amardora's time.
Yeah. Hey Mark, what's going on?
Hey, not a lot. Sorry I'm rolling in here late. What are you guys up to?
No worries. We're just kind of talking a little bit about the newsletter. I think Keli is still AFK, or Kylie. I don't know how to pronounce his name actually, but
I think it's
in-
Keli.
yeah, that's what I thought. That's how it sounds phonetically. But if you guys want to, I guess introduce yourselves. Since we have more people here now, other than just me, we can kind of, I guess, get this thing going.
Age before beauty, Mark.
What's that?
Introduce yourself, Mark.
Sorry. Last I checked, I'm still Mark a priori. I've played this game since literally day one. I thought online games were ridiculous. I was really, really sick, and my youngest brother was staying with me, and he goes, no, try this out. You're going to like this. This troll, he casts giant blue hammers. So that was it.
Nice. And I'm Obelisk. I've been playing a little bit less than Mark, since a little bit before SI came out. And yeah, kind of similar to how you got started. My stepbrother, actually not my real brother, decided to start playing, and then he coerced me into playing with him. So the rest is history after that.
Kind of is a disease, isn't it?
It is.
Hello, I'm Ian. You might know me as Saxona on the forums or in game. If you play Gaheris, you probably know me as Electro or Butchered. I got into this game pretty close to around release and played it off and on since then. I didn't get my first 50 until much later, but I didn't start playing Gaheris, which is how most people know me these days, until 2009, about when the classic servers died. I tried Gaheris with some of my friends who convinced me to play it, and I was sort of... I hated PvE
I'm
at
back.
the time, but now I'm in love with it. Oh, hello, Keli.
Hey, Keli.
Sorry I'm late.
That's no worries. We're just kind of introducing ourselves now to the podcast and the stream. So if you'd like to go ahead, that'd be good.
Hey everyone, this is Scott, aka Keli, former Classic and Zerk team lead. And forgive me for running late. I had some coworkers need some assistance. So, quick question. Which realm should I load up?
I
And
don't
do
know.
we need a buff pot?
Do you guys want to do a little bit of, I guess we do Hib RVR if you want. Does that sound good? Or we can do Alb. Or mid, actually. Whatever you guys want to play, I'm open to anything.
I'm fine
We could
either
do
way.
that. Or, we were talking about some other things we might do. Maybe not this time, but we could roll through the starter zones while we're talking
yeah.
about,
Oh.
how the game has changed in that aspect a little bit. We can maybe do that next time, or
Yeah, that's a
whatever,
good idea.
or this time.
Yeah, it sounds like a plan. Yeah, if you guys want to, we can do it, I guess this time. We can, I guess, meet up on, do you want to meet up on Alb starter? So. Or,
I won't be in-game. I'll just be in Ventrilo for
that's
this.
fine. No
Are
worries.
you killing me?
We have a request for mid.
Ian, come on, man.
So boot up in the mid starter zone from the stream chat.
I think that's because they want to kill us in another realm, but that's okay.
Possibly. You never know.
I
It'll
say
be like,
let's do Alp. Unless the guys that requested mid want to play with us.
I'm fine with either. I'm still, I haven't loaded the stream yet, so just saying.
Yeah, I haven't loaded at all.
Here, let's just meet up on mid.
Okay, cool.
Just go through it.
Alright, what are you guys going to play?
I'm gonna play a cow something. Probably a cow zerker.
Alright, I'll do a Valk of some sort, so we have heals. Scott, that means you have to be speed or we're going to suffer the whole time.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's what I was
speed and
thinking.
then early.
I'll do Scald. Give me a second.
Gotta go with the tall Minotaur.
And the extra long horns. You know, I think the Hibernian...
Are any of you guys playing with
cows have
4K
the best
monitors?
Nope. Well, I don't know. What is 4K exactly? Is that some?
It's the Ultra HD
Yeah, what's the resolution?
monitors.
Like what? At what point are you 4K?
It's like
I guess?
4K resolution.
Like 4K.
It's
by
like
2K or
4K
something?
by 2K roughly.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not quite there. Not even close.
Yeah, dude. I'm starting to regret that I went that route. I won't be able to stream until I can figure out. I may have to revert back. Because like I'll click on something and then my mouse will just start drifting off somewhere.
Okay, I'm on OB with a bunch of E's in the star zone.
Oh, what's going on?
But anyway, we're kind of talking about the newsletter before we had some people join us. Kind of mentioned how I think it's a really good thing that they're now doing this because it provides a little bit more communication between Broadsword and the community. Kind of lets people know what their plan of attack is for the game, which I think a lot of people want right now. So I think it's a good starting point for them.
Yeah, I really think it's a place that, they've wanted to be able to get to for quite a bit. And it's good that they're finally, creating a framework for that.
Right.
It's been a lot of work in this transition, it seems like, from Mythic to EA now to Broadsword, and like I'm happy. I'm really excited by not just what they've announced publicly, but just some of the the little things, tidbits they drop at us. It's like, yeah, they're really getting this together.
Right. And with anything, like this, like a company taking over a game, it takes a little time to, I guess, establish yourself. But, I think things are kind of looking up a little bit as far as, the patches they're putting out are usually pretty good. Like the casual group finder wasn't implemented in the best way possible, I don't think. But the good thing is, I think Broadsword acknowledges that and are making steps to fix that, to make the casual group finder, a success.
Yeah, more functional. I still think that, and tell me what you guys think. I know we've discussed this a little bit on and off on the boards, but I really think it should be a pop-up when you zone into an RVR zone. Just so that like a returning player or a casual player just says, "Oh, this is how this works."
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like every website you visit, practically not website, but everything you open, every game you open has some kind of a pop-up to begin with. I don't think it's that big of an annoyance.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I
think
mean, if you give an option to turn it off, that would be ideal too, just so the more seasoned players who know about it and don't want to use it are able to disregard
Sure,
it easily.
Definitely.
But the default should definitely be on and not off.
Yeah, I think in the newsletter
Oh,
they
yeah,
actually
for sure.
mentioned doing something like that, as where it's going to pop up by default with like you said, the option to not have it pop up. So I think that's
We're
actually.
standing here talking.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to the NPC. My bad.
I haven't either.
Doesn't have anything to say to me.
Oh.
Oh.
So the traveling merchants are coming pretty soon, it seems.
Yes. Yeah,
Have
that's
you
what
all
it-
stocked up on your plat to get ready for it?
No, unfortunately. I have a decent amount. I should be able to buy. I have I think around 300, 400 plat on each realm, so this should be able to get me what I need. I don't need too much, thankfully, but they are coming, which is it's a great thing. It's been a while, and I've been anticipating them for quite a while. Looking forward to them.
What do you think some of the more desirable items will be this time around? Like, do you think you'll see anything new, or is there anything maybe the community might be after?
Like new on the merchants.
On the traveling merchants, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
well,
last time they added some of those supremacy pots.
right. Yeah, I think supremacy pots
I
would
know
be great.
that,
Supremacy pots would be great.
yeah, the supremacy pots were available last time the merchants came around, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They added them the last time. So is there anything
Oh, yeah.
Anything
new
new?
that maybe we should suggest that they?
A lot of people were requesting the Gem of the Harbinger, but with the quests just haven't recently been out, I don't know if that would be something that they would add.
Yeah, it was so recent. I mean, you may as well throw it up there for future merchants when it's say in December or something, if they put them out. And the Harbinger, hasn't been recent.
Sure, and I think part of the the intent behind these merchants is obviously to help people get things they couldn't otherwise get, but it's also to be a plat sink where every game ever you get to the point where certain people just have way too much money, and there's a way to just remove it from the game so that the economy's not so crazy. So yeah, I don't. From that aspect, it would be just fine to put the Harbinger gem in, because certainly there are a number of players that didn't get a chance to take advantage of that, like myself, even though I have a few. If I wanted to grab one on, say, Hib or something, it would be a nice way, and then, it helps being a plat sink.
Right, it's true. Viva Yay Carol actually had a question in the stream chat asking, what do you think we should do to make the casual group finder more accessible or usable? I think one way would definitely be to expand the roles a little bit. Right now there are 4 roles. It makes it kind of simple, but I think a lot of people, I don't know. Personally, I wouldn't want to just say, okay, I need a healer, pull it out of, get a 2 wardens or something on Hib when I need a druid. The crowd control, the DPS. There's a lot of variabilities between, there's a ton of DPS classes and not all fit together very well as far as synergy is concerned in groups. So I think possibly expanding upon, instead of just DPS, put like mages, like mage DPS or tank DPS, or even opening up to specific classes would be a good start.
Yeah, I think specific classes would be a good idea, because on Geharis, a lot of groups tend
I
to
get
lean
another
towards
advice?
very specific classes when they're forming a raid. So, like, for example, if my guild is raiding dragons, we definitely want more heretics than anything, but if we're doing something like Legion, we would want to more specifically go for melee DPS.
Yeah, that's true. And I think the suggestion to make it kind of pop up on default with the option of turning it off is something that'll make it at least pop out to more people. Let more people know it's there.
Yeah, that alone will be great.
Mhm.
Sure, and I think we'll get a lot of specific feedback, like you're saying. It would be nice if at a certain point you were able to tab what kind of DPS you were looking for, whether that's at the beginning of creating the group or later.
Right. And I also think one of the issues with just groups in general is, I know I'm like this, I don't love leading groups a lot. I'll lead when I need to and stuff, but forming a group there's a lot that goes into it. And a lot of people would just rather log in and get invited and stick someone and then, have fun in the fights. I think maybe some sort of reward or something, incentive to lead a group would be nice. There are, I suggested something like that a long time ago, but there are some complications and, balancing, I guess, the incentives.
Yeah,
You guys
I completely
gotta kill the
agree
boars.
that there definitely seems to be a void when there's not any raid leaders on Geharas. Like,
Right.
you can actually notice a significant dip in the population. Like, if a raid leader that commonly leads raids, you don't see nearly as many people on after a few weeks. It just goes down quite a bit. So, yeah, I think having an incentive to create more raid leaders, more keep group leaders on Geharas anyway, would be a great addition, and I think it would definitely help keep the population a little bit more steady.
Right. Now, what would be some ways you think to incentivize people to lead raids and stuff like that?
I don't know. You could do some sort of monetary reward, or even just like a tick on your /title. So, if you're leading a group or a battle group when a certain boss dies, you would get a leadership title of some kind.
Right. Yeah, it's true. Now, as far as an RVR sense, like to lead an RVR group, would you?
I mean, you could do the same thing for players killed, maybe, or every 10 players killed, you would get a tick or something like that.
Right.
I think the title, personally, I like the title route because it does two things. It lets other players know to search out for that guy, and then the other guy that goes through the hell of trying to put groups together has something to show for it too.
Yeah, I guess the only caveat to that would be that they need to fix titles on Geharas, because right now no one can see your title except for you.
Oh, really? Yeah, that'd be nice.
Wow, that's horrible.
Yeah. I was also thinking maybe, I'm not massively, excited about titles myself when I get a title. It's nice. There are only certain ones I really like. But maybe, like you said, a monetary reward for leading raids on Geharas or even Yuane. A lot of PvP that needs to happen on Yuane. But as far as RVR goes, maybe have a slight realm point bonus to the person leading a group if they have more than maybe 6 people in group. I don't know if that would be a good idea or not.
Yeah, no, I mean that's an interesting idea. I don't know that is money really a motivation at this point, but it shouldn't be so significant that that it's like something people fight over. But at the same
Right.
time, that's why titles seem interesting. But it seems like there could be something else.
Now, how would that work if, say, a Reaver is leading the group, but a lot of people prefer to have the Sorcerer as the group leader for easier sticking
Right.
purposes and whatnot?
Right.
Well, with something you could do like that, maybe, I don't know how hard this would be to code, but create a slash command, like slash, there's slash make leader right now to make someone the leader of the group, but maybe slash, I don't know, it could be whatever you want, slash give leader or slash leader bonuses or whatever, to whoever actually formed the group. Like, say, I formed a group with my Reaver, and Apri was a Sork. I wanted him to drive, but I did all the work to form the group. I make him leader with the understanding that he's going to give me the bonuses with the slash command. Like, he would slash give bonuses OB or whatever. And if he doesn't, then, it's kind of a trust type thing, but he won't invite you in the future, I guess, if
Right.
you don't, type of thing.
So where's the what quest did I miss here? I feel like I missed something.
I haven't even done my quest on my Zerker trainer. Maybe at your class trainer? That's where
Yeah, I did
was.
mine for my Zerker train or Skull trainer. Sorry. Yeah, last week, Obi, I thought you were gonna build a group and gank us, man.
Huh, no way. I want to do that. It's
Wouldn't
funny.
have been hard, I'm just saying.
It's asking me if I want to learn about the storm calling specialization of my Zerker.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Did you catch that, Carol? Maybe you should put a note in there. Zerkers don't actually have storm calling.
Unfortunately, they don't.
That would be certainly not overpowered.
Oh, wow. The Zerg trainer can tell the Scald about his melee special. That's funny. That's kind of cool, though.
Yeah, I have left axe.
Ah, it does tell me I can about left axe.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea that they're mentioning there in the stream that we've talked about for a while in the past about allowing different group members to be able to invite people. I'd often wondered if there was something that they could do to implement battleground commands in battle group commands in groups, so that you could have a secondary leader, and that might even work out for, like you were talking about, with having the person drive that is not the leader of the group.
Right.
That you can implement a group leader, and that was just a slash command. And then, it would be really helpful, because if you're driving and leading, you don't necessarily want to also be, like, responding to every tell.
Yeah, that's true. I think that'd be nice. It's a good idea.
You guys got to kill Black Fang?
I don't know if I have that quest. Where'd you get it?
I got it from this
Yeah, I
guy
did.
right here.
Damn it.
Okay, where's Black Fang?
Got it.
Travel a short
Yep,
distance
right
north
here.
to slay
It's over
three.
where we just were.
Okay, good to
It's
go.
over here. Oh, we got some other folks. Wonder what they're doing.
No, but I was thinking from a code aspect, it might be possible for them to implement those battle group commands into groups.
Yeah, it's true. I have no coding knowledge at all in background, so I have no clue what's easy, what's hard, anything like that. I'm attacking this Grey Wolf.
But as exciting as level 3 PvE is, if you guys in the stream actually have any other points or questions that are not related to what we've just been talking about, feel free to shoot them out.
Yep.
Now we just gotta find Black Fang, right?
Yeah. I think
Yeah,
someone
he-
killed him.
yes,
Yeah,
he
here,
just-
he's back up. But something
Alright, there we
recently
go.
they mentioned in the newsletter, an upcoming change is the UI. And there's actually, many of you may know custom UI, Bob's UI. I've personally never used it.
Yeah, I use it.
But yeah, there's tons of people that do. I think that's going to become kind of the new basis for the new UI. With some, there's going to be new changes and alterations to that to kind of make it more modern. But yeah, that's
Awesome.
going to be the new basis, I think, and that's a good idea. I think using an established UI that people like and enjoy.
I think the nice thing about Bob's is that it allows you so many options, that you can use parts of other UIs.
Right.
If that's going to be the framework and they can expand on it, that would be pretty cool.
Definitely looking forward to it. And also something that people have asked for in the past, and they were kind of given a no, not right now type of answer due to resources and just time, is name respects and race respects. And Beav recently says, it's possible, it's not off the table, but it's not something we can do immediately due to resources. But what do you guys think about the whole name and race respect argument and stuff? Personally, I'd like it.
Oh, we gotta. I want to go level real quick.
Yeah, I think at this point, I'm going to go ahead and speak since he's so. concentrating on training.
Sorry.
No, I don't have a problem with it in general. I mean, I think that if this were 14 years ago, people would have issues with it. And I know it's something that's been talked about on and off between Knights, team leads, developers, the community for a while. I know it is possible that it does require a lot of resources. So there probably would be some kind of a monetary charge, and that's not coming from them. That's my assumption.
Right.
Which I'd be fine with, especially if it were like a package deal where it was like you could do your account or something. That would be pretty reasonable. Race respects, or excuse me, I was talking about names there. Races, I go back and forth because that's changed over the years so many times, and you can get significant bonuses from one race in the past, whereas now it's not such a big deal. So I think maybe we're at the point where we could just say, sure, go for it. But what do you think, Kobe?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in the same boat with you as far as races. Now I think having different races isn't as big of a deal due to especially like the new DF overcap items and stuff. You can get a ton of decks on typically historically low decks type of races, and the same goes for strength. But yeah, like I know I don't enjoy playing my Berserker because it's troll. I'd probably rather have Norseman, and so I don't play Berserker ever. It's only like rank 6, but I could always re-roll. But stuff like that, could help. I guess I know some people like Quell in the stream. He has a Highlander cleric at rank 12 or rank 11. Sorry, I'm sure he'd love that to be Britain, just for a little bit more realm ability points. So he doesn't have to
I feel you.
high
I mean,
log decks.
At one point, I have a realm rank 10 something cleric that's Highlander, and I re-rolled to Britain, and it's almost 10. So I was just like, I don't know. It's at one point it was definitely worth doing, even when you're a high realm rank, and now it's kind of questionable. It would be nice to make the game more fun, not feel like it has to be this huge grind to get back to where you were.
Right. That's true.
Now, as far as name respecs go, how would you factor in scammers and people who lead raids just so that they can take all the loot from it?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't really have an answer how you can make that to where you can know a person's history if they change their name.
I definitely think
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, as far as people doing multi-realm trade scams, I'm not sure how you could resolve that, but I do know as far as people who scam raids, I definitely think that... oh man, I just forgot what I was going to say.
You're getting old on us.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, I had a good thought on it, but I don't remember what it was now.
Happens.
Well, I definitely think that that's an issue. I'll babble while you're trying to remember it. I definitely think that that's something that we have to consider. And in my mind, that begs the question: should Broadsword be more involved in not necessarily punitive, but recognizing when people have issues with other people? And historically, that's been a big no. And I imagine it will continue to be a no. But I mean, what do you guys think about that whole situation?
Oh, that actually brings me back on track for what I was going to say. I think a lot of this kind of stuff can be dealt with coding, as far as just maybe overhauling the loot system. So if you do implement name changes, you would definitely need to implement a change to how loot is divided up, whether it be like an automatic rolling system or changing how loot is divided, so maybe the loot just automatically goes to a character or has a chance to go to a character, kind of like, I don't know if you've played World of Warcraft, but when they kill world bosses, you basically do a roll, and if you are successful in your roll, you get an item. So maybe something like that could be done.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good
Did
idea.
you right-click this Treb to get the...
Yes. I did.
North Shore.
It's right here. But yeah, it's like Mark, you brought up the point about if Broadsword should kind of be policing, stuff like that. And I think that would take a lot of resources as well to sort of have your own little police force in game, which I don't know if that's possible at the moment.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. I personally, and this is a personal thing, I like games and aspects of games where the company, the creators of the game stay uninvolved and the world just does its own thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And
I agree
but
to an extent.
do-
I think a lot of... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, I think a lot of the questionable behavior that happens, I think, can be controlled automatically just through, design or coding. I don't think, you know, trade scams where people are doing multi-realm trades, that's a little bit harder to code around. But like I said, with, um, leading raids and whatnot, I definitely think that can be managed a little bit more effectively with just how it's designed.
Well, it might be a thing that, we've talked about this
Oh.
inter-realm mail, or that mail capabilities.
You're going the right way, Obi. They're right up
If
in
there
front.
were inter-realm aspects, to the mail system that we don't know, that might be a part of the solution.
Right.
That you could keep, people hold them accountable for at least, if they send each other mail saying, I'll trade you this for this, and it doesn't happen, then you could maybe, that could be a part of the existing, I don't know what you'd call it, policing system. Like we don't let people cheat in general, or try not to. That could possibly be a simple solution, because then all you got to do is look at the intergame messaging, but who knows?
Right.
Yeah, your mail idea could work. Another possibility would be like a multi-realm auction house or a multi-realm consignment merchant where you could buy other realms' items or something like that.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Right.
And if
I don't
say
know
if you wanted
how
to
possible that is,
transfer platinum, you could just put a tattered loincloth up for 100 plat and have your alternate character buy it.
Yeah, that's true. Something like that
Yeah,
would be
it's definitely something we're gonna need. We're gonna have to
Yeah,
stay on
auction
top
house
of
would
it, so.
solve a lot. And the in-game mail system.
This is very strange watching ourselves on the stream a few seconds behind where we are.
Yeah.
Like, who are these newbies? Oh, that's me.
That's me.
Wish Twitch would give you a longer delay. And WoW, it doesn't matter so much. I shouldn't
That's
have
pretty
pulled these
long. I think
guys.
it's just set short right now, isn't it?
Yeah,
You
you
go
can
a couple
change
minutes.
You can,
with your streaming software.
Oh, and what Pythian just said is kind of true. It's not that they won't increase it, it's that they can't. The way that it's coded, there's just not enough numbers in the stream. Like, it's pretty much hard capped at just a little bit above 200.
Right.
It has nothing to do with their desire to do it or their willingness to do it. It's just, a 15-year-old game. That's where it's at.
I remember at some point you could actually hold around 214 plat, but they
That's the cap.
at some
It's
point just switched it to an even 200.
Yeah, I think if you withdraw
Yeah.
from your housing merchant, you can
We
go
need
to
one
it.
more sergeant.
Yeah, if it were that simple, it would have been done 12 years ago. The solution, hopefully, will be some kind of an account-based banking, where you can move money between things. Or like people already do, use housing deeds.
All right, we're good.
If they could come up with something that was like, hi, this is 200 plat token, that would be nice.
Right. Okay, I'm going to run through here. Hopefully we live.
These are green con. We're good.
Yeah. This is the guy we have to run back to
I
across
tell you,
the
man,
the town.
this gray speed is kicking it, man.
Woot woot. Yeah, that's definitely one of those things. I feel like we should almost keep a running list of, like, things that they simply can't address, or that, can't be fixed because the game is as old as it is,
Right.
If
I think I made the point of
Which would
deleting
maybe
copper, but I don't know the ramifications of deleting copper, how that would actually work.
What's the problem is that copper has 4 numbers, you'll notice. Like you can hold hundreds of copper
Right.
instead of the 100 multiplier. So there's something weird about that, if I remember correctly from the discussions.
Mhm. Okay, it's telling me to report to some commander.
Oh, there's weapons here for free.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot about this.
Look at that, Carol being called out. It's been a week.
All right, I'm gonna go talk to my trainer real quick, see if I can up the speed. I doubt it.
Yeah, I will say, I've interacted with lots of generations of developers, and these folks, gals and guys, are very focused on customer support and customer relations, much more so than anybody else. They just have a little bit smaller of a team, so sometimes things take more time than anybody wants them to.
Right.
But they're certainly very present. It's not like they're ignoring it, believe me. They're very concerned every time we mention anything.
One thing we touched on last week a little bit, which I think is one of the big issue in the game right now, is just the realm point, reduced realm point timer and stuff like that. I think that should probably be adjust, as soon as possible. I was RVRing today.
I agree.
Yeah, I think like 40 or 50% of my kills were reduced. And that's what I was doing. I think duos kind of, so the small man type action kind of gets hit with that a little more, because if you're in a full group, you may be roaming a little further away and roaming for other full groups. We're probably not, as likely to be worth reduced, but when you're fighting a bunch of other duos or soloing or stuff like that, you run into a lot of reduced round points, which is kind of depressing.
Oh yeah, when you're soloing, it gets especially
Yes.
frustrating when the only clean fight of the night you get is reduced RPs, and you don't get a solo kill from it.
Exactly. I agree with that. Yeah, I think maybe like a 2 minute, 3 minute, something like that. 2.5 is.
Where's his commander? Isn't he down by the water?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
South of us?
I think he is. I think cutting the timer in half would probably
And
work. Or if your opponent's not res sick, that would also, I think, should eliminate the reduced round point.
You could also do some sort of system that Mordred used to have, where if you kill the same character within a certain amount of time, you'll get realm points. That way you can sort of minimize the realm point farming aspect that sometimes people try to take advantage of.
Yeah, that's true. It also kind of will help eliminate some of the griefing if you're camping a PK and some poor guy just keeps coming out and dying to you. Makes it less likely that you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, I'll let you lead, Keela, or Apri. I have no clue.
I'm guessing, so feel free to make
Okay.
fun of me when I'm wrong.
It should be behind us.
Yeah, he's right here.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I last did this
there-
on HID like a year and a half ago. I ran through all the starter quests and just leveled 1 to 50 just off quests and stuff. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, I was helping a friend of mine start this game about 3 months ago, and I couldn't believe how much fun it was. I was like, wow, this tutorial is actually cool. Not that I should be so shocked, but I mean, it really was, like, I had fun. Usually I'm like, PvE, no.
You're just not doing it right.
Just not
Yeah,
doing
you're
it.
probably
BGs are
right,
pretty
actually.
fun,
That's,
too.
That's the truth.
I used to hate PvE.
Need more
Like I said
PvE.
at the beginning of the stream. I used to hate it.
Yeah.
Especially mobs that snared you. But yeah, it's if you do it right, it can be pretty fun.
That's a really good question that Oka's asking there, about pulling the camera back. Like if that's ever going to be altered. I know that it has been different, and there have been certain existing bugs that have made it possible to be panned out further. But I would be all in support of that. I think it's super fun. Like I love watching from Carol's point of view when you're like way up in the air.
Right.
I guess the disadvantage of that is you could then see inside keeps from
Yeah,
outside.
that's true. Could create some issues with that. Off with their heads. Are the guards
Should be in the guys in the back of the tower.
Oh, the back of the guy.
Yeah,
No, they're
there's-
back in the
oh,
tower.
yeah,
I
back.
see.
But I think that that's definitely the timer for roam points is absolutely something that they're aware of and hopefully are.
Right.
And I think we had some positive reactions to that discussion last time. I mean, from the
Hey,
stream
Obi.
last time.
Right.
Have you talked to Jim Lee at all?
Here and there.
I saw his post about Raldor.
Yeah. But let's see.
What's our journals?
We should be good. Got to go back to the captain.
I still need an Albion commander somehow.
Kill Albion Commander. Yes.
Oh, me too.
Here he is. There you go. Oh god.
I'm just going to back up through every mob in this
There
room,
we go.
I hope.
You have a big shield. You'll be okay.
Valks
Alright,
are
we're good.
overpowered, right?
Oh yeah, that's right here. I think they are. Speaking of overpowered, do you guys have any classes that you guys think are a little underpowered or overpowered at the moment? Just kind of imbalanced, whether it be positive or negative.
I'm obviously, I think we can all agree that Necros are in a great deal of pain and could use
Yes.
some help.
Yes.
That's an understatement.
Yep.
A good thing with the newsletter, they kind of announced the new pet pathing they have planned to fix a lot of the pet pathing in enough. So hopefully that's a step in the right direction for Necros. But the whole class, the class as a whole is kind of, it's so different. It's hard to
It's up here.
possibly. Really.
And I do remember that you kind of have to be careful in here because these things are tougher than you think.
I forgot to even put Vindo on my bar.
What?
Yep. He's gonna get it.
No, but related classes, like we talked about last time, I still think that the role of assassins and archers, but more so assassins in groups that are
Yeah.
not stealther groups, is lacking. But I think that we're seeing a pretty good, there's nobody that's super hurting aside from Necros right now because they've been doing a good job for years of
Right.
balancing this.
Yeah, I think the game's pretty balanced as far as classes. The warlock changes kind of made them completely different than they have historically been, but I think there are some really cool warlock specs available that make them, a really cool class. Yeah, as far as overpowered classes, you get solo classes, and as far as 1v1 goes, and that's I think hard to balance when you're balancing everything as well. Where you get nuked from.
Wizard through the wall. Ah, got it. It's gonna kill me.
I don't know where it is. Oh, I see it, I think. No, it's not.
It's way behind this inner.
Oh, it's in the inner.
No, behind it.
Oh, behind it, okay.
It'll be on the wall.
Like this guy that I'm going to?
No, it's on the ground. He's behind a crate over there.
Oh, I'm probably the wrong one.
I was just saved. Oh my god, they're all on me. There's 2 wizards. I feel like this is actual RVR. You find one, there's like 50.
Heck yeah.
No, are there any other classes that people... I know there have been specific concerns about some class issues, like people were kind of upset about Warden Double Bubble, or still
Right.
kind of are.
Yeah.
How are you guys feeling about that specifically?
I mean, I think it's fair to. It's probably a bug. It just. I don't know. Having 2 of the same spell isn't a great idea, in my opinion. Oh, don't kill me. Don't kill me.
Well, especially for melee classes.
Oh, did you see that? Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, that was...
I'll be back. But yeah, for that kind of. I don't know. PBT and debuffs are still really solid. We made steps in the right direction, in my opinion, of lowering or raising, I guess, the recast timer on debuffs, which is a good thing. But yeah, I think having 2 bubbles up on Hibernia isn't the best thing I could do with it getting
Okay, I'd
changed.
like to point out that this stream proves that I am the worst healer in Dark Age Camelot. There you go.
Oh god, this is a long rest. I
But,
can't find the healer.
You got 12 though, right? Obi, you were pretty much... You just got
Yes.
it poured out from inside here.
Do I have to come to you and port out? Is that how it works?
I think it's inside the inner tower, if I remember.
You got to go inside and talk to
I may
the
be running with
lieutenant.
you here in a second. Yeah.
I'll wait for you then.
And then you go inside and talk to the guy in the middle. And then now you're good.
We have fallen, unfortunately, so we'll be there shortly.
Woohoo! I'm level 10. I'm killing the armsmen for you guys.
This definitely feels like actual RVR, where I'm like, I'm dead, and Keeli's like, I'm still killing things. 5 minutes later.
So after you
What
talk
did you
to the
find over
dude,
there,
it'll
Sean?
port you back to the town. The guy behind the king.
Alright, let me go.
So you can go talk to your trainer.
I did not see a healer, but I'm also not looking at my map.
Oh, come to me.
So
I
go
found
to
these
the
down here.
center keep, talk to the lieutenant outside, then click on the doors and talk to the dude.
Yeah, give us a second. We're healing our con stuff. We're curing our risk at least.
I gotta protect my Scald trainer.
Talk to the
second.
skull too, Mark. Get a little speed.
Yeah, I grabbed it up the hill.
Okay, there you go.
But does anybody else in the stream have any issues with classes, like where they sit? And obviously we're still not... Oh, good,
Word
sorry.
on the street is Shadowblades are a little on the weaker side than the other assassins. I don't want to comment too
second
much
that.
further than that because
Right.
I might get some ragey people, but
Yeah, as far as SBs, I haven't played stealth SB in a while, or any assassin in a year. Hard for me to comment on that personally, but from when I fight them, I'm definitely not as scared of SBs as I am Nightshades. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I think Nightshades are definitely, at least in my personal experience, at the top of the food chain here.
Right.
And the Infiltrators are doing well, and the Shadowblades are just kind of on the back end of it right now.
Right.
But it's not horrible. It's just, 10%, I'd say.
Yeah, I think a really good thing about Nightshades that gives them a lot of strength is the I believe it's called Thunderstorm, if I'm not mistaken. I might be totally wrong. Is there any time Celtic dual style? It's just their
Oh,
basic
Yep,
taunt.
Thunderstorm.
Yeah, and it gives them a defensive bonus as well.
detaunt.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's I guess a detaunt, but it's still 0.88 growth rate. It's the same as their level 34 anytime. Yeah, there's no reason to use Meteor Shower. I don't think. I think you get a lot more bonuses out of using the Thunderstorm. And also their rank 5 is really nice as far as defense is concerned. Whereas Shadowblade's rank 5 isn't really impressive. It was a good idea, but I just don't think it's kind of where it needs to be. And plus,
Yeah, I think that's.
Where's the next
Sorry.
one?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think that's probably one of the main things that make them a little bit weaker than the assassins. I think another issue is their lack of spec points. They have the least out of all of the assassins, which makes it more difficult for them to utilize the revamp of the critical strike line that they recently
absolutely.
did.
Yeah.
Right.
And also because of the way the left axe mechanics works too, compared to dual wield,
Right.
where you have to put points into to get your baseline, base spec line up.
Oh, definitely.
We mentioned Necros straight off. We all just kind of cried for a minute and took a moment, poured out a little bit of a 40, and then
Does anyone have an idea where to go now? Are we supposed to leave the zone, or?
I
You
think
could
we're
go
kicked
do
out
some
at 10.
RBR.
Oh, we could go hunt people that are doing this in the other realms. Let's do it.
Alright, let's
We
do
have a
it.
Scald.
Nice. I'll follow you. Tell me where to go. I don't think we've ever actually done that.
I'm gonna follow Keli. Watch this.
Alright,
I'm sticking
Keli.
to Keli. Onward and forward.
Lead us to victory.
Hold on.
We didn't buy a cloak.
Well, it's part of the quest. Alright, so I'll take us. Here we go. Ready?
Okay.
We're in trouble now. Alright, we can do some more PvE here.
Sounds fun. But yeah, as we're saying, there's always minor balance changes. Like, you know, you get certain classes that just excel as far as, especially in the solo world. Like I said, I think balancing around solo is kind of hard to do because there's so many more aspects of the game that you have to keep in mind when you're balancing a class and specs and whatnot. Like right now, you have Maulers with a certain spec are just very good. I think anything with the shield, especially Reavers, are right now seem pretty solid. I've been playing mine a lot, and they're definitely decent. Mine's also a rank 10, so that may be an issue there.
I think they're pretty solid all around.
Yeah.
Like, they're extra solid in BGs, and
Right.
And even at low roam rank and big boy RVR,
Mm-hmm.
they're still a very good class. They might not be like as optimal as something else, but they're still very, very
Right.
playable.
I agree. Now with the the recent Reaver changes, after they lost their 2 insta life taps and their Cobra life tap, they're a lot less durable. But I think their damage is a lot better, especially after they added the Dragon Whip, or not the Dragon Whip, sorry, the Darkness Falls Seal 15 Whip. It's a 4.3 speed whip with a 10% weapon skill buff on it. And that weapon skill buff really helps because it increases the proc damage by 10% as well as just your overall weapon skill. So I think that did a lot for Reavers.
Yeah, because what was the old weapon? The Dark Knight's Flame or whatever?
Yeah,
what speed was that? It was
3
pretty
seconds.
fast.
Yeah, it's 3 seconds, which was great when you had to get off as many Cobras as you could for health regen. But since you don't really do that anymore, you can maximize your melee damage and still get a lot of procs out, especially if you run Celerity charges.
Yeah, I
Always
definitely
was
feel
nice.
like these days it's so easy to get your swing speed capped even at 4.3.
Right, it really is. And like I said, you have, I think the DF gem lets you go. May not be the gem, it would be the belt. I can't remember. It gives you 5 con in quick cap or over cap, so that helps also with achieving good swing speed. And plus crafting to the alchemy level you need to recharge celerity is really quick nowadays. I think when I did it on my Reaver, it took me I think I did it over 2 days. I was crafting on and on, or on and off, sorry.
Yeah, crafting is another thing that's definitely a lot more reasonable than it once was.
Alright, we're good with these.
We are, sorry.
That's all.
fun to kill. Yeah, I think the game's pretty balanced as far as, you know, class versus class and realm versus realm. And like in the 8v8 scene, it's you know, all the hybrids are pretty much, you know, close to being as balanced as they can be. You have Thurgs and Alb, which, you know, still get a little bit annoying with the amount of pets they can put out, but you have answers to that in Hidden Mid. So it's not as unmanageable as it once was.
No, and especially not with, you know, average players. There are certain, especially it's multiplicative. I think is the issues.
Right.
Once you, if your third gets free and getting a couple things off, it's a lot more difficult to recover from that than another class that might get free. And if you have two of them, well, I think we all know what that feels like.
Don't break the mez. Just putting it out there.
I remember, and you might remember this, Scott, when Beth and I were both playing Thurgs that one night when we were trying to make an Alb group, and we kept fighting that same Hib 8-man, and I ended up like petting one of their pets to death accidentally. Well, it's sort of accidentally. I didn't mean to cast on it because it looked like a key.
I remember that.
And cast a pet, and I was like, screw it. Just killed the pet in the middle of the fight because we had so many interrupts out. But it is terribly fun when you're trying to, you know, push the limits of what's possible. You can really excel.
Right.
But I don't necessarily consider that overpowered, and I know I'm going to get a lot of crap for that. It's just they're more advantageous if you do certain things right.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't say Thurgs are overpowered. They're strong class. They're a good class. I don't know, I like Thurgs.
Oh, you broke the mez.
I probably did, sorry. They're a good class that have their place in there. It's kind of needed. I think Al without Thurg is a lot weaker. Still a great realm, still a lot of great classes on Al, but Thurg really kind of ties it all together. And like I said, I think it's mostly balanced at the moment. Phase shift, Key Live, phase shift.
That heal was going to go off. I just had a 30-second countdown.
I think we're good on Scrags, right?
Yeah, we're really good.
We should probably back up a little bit before other angry Scrags come and kill us. That one. Oh no.
Is there any other questions coming?
Yeah, Kuch made a point about, you know, Thurgs can probably get a little overpowered when, you know, you consider Alb as a whole. Alb push and like an Alb hybrid group versus, say, like a Hip hybrid or mid hybrid can get a little ridiculous if you have like, you know, the minstrel with the, you know, essentially unCCable pets, which also kind of makes him unmessable and unrootable. This stays alive due to the current dynamic of the minstrel pet. And you know, you put an Armsman up there and a Merc maybe, and then you throw a Thurg up there. You've got so much pressure that it's hard for other realms to kind of compete with pressure like that.
I do agree with Kuji though that more counters is probably a better way than nerfing them.
Right.
At this point, it's just those pets can be really difficult to deal with. You know, one of the things that I was disappointed about, and maybe this is unfair. I'd like you guys' input on this. I was bummed that when the healer got that PvE proc, that it didn't affect pets. Like I was like, why do all main healers not have this? That you could take a swing and possibly have a proc that kills the pet.
Right.
You know, that just seems reasonable.
Yeah, I agree. I think that'd be really nice. One thing that I don't know if you guys know of a player named Risky Milk. He's a rank 12 healer, but he carries around a Spirit two-hander, and Spirit does more damage against Earth pets. and so he can, like, I think probably two-shot all the Earth pets whenever he pulls out his Spirit two-hander, which I think is a really cool thing to kind of help him free himself with Earth pets. But yeah, as far as the life tap proc, I
Take
think
a left.
the left. Yeah, I'm going around the pond. Makes me slow and makes me sad.
Okay, good.
Right.
But yeah, I'd like the life tap proc to effects against all pets. It'd be nice. Good thing is they gave healers, wardens, bards have had confuse, friars, whatnot. Friars don't really need it 'cause they don't have to go up against Thurgs, but helps clear pet procs. But the confuse spell kills Thurg pets. So
Yep, it's
helps,
definitely
right.
definitely underutilized, I think, by the majority of the population.
Right. It's definitely a great spell, and it also kills Trader Dagger pets, and Astral, Milton Blade pets. So things
I
like
thought
that.
it'd be interesting too, and I get fairly well shot down at one point where we were talking about what kind of procs we might want on some new weapons. It's like, what about an AE confuse proc on the healer weapons?
Oh, that'd be cool. Actually,
I think that'd be amazingly overpowered if you had third pets already.
Yeah.
Like it went off and cleared them all.
That would be interesting. I'd like that. Yeah. Stack up, the shaman and like an SM and the quick cast down and the healer. The healer just kills them all instantly if it procs. That'd be pretty cool.
But I think there's also a not third pet related, but pet related. Our recently departed friend Dev there was really onto how pets work in RVR and how buffs affect pets.
Right.
Essentially way too much.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that's something that we're still considering when the developers are looking at pets.
Yeah, I agree.
Because when you're fighting an orange pet that suddenly was level, 60 something effectively. It gets ridiculous to try and kill.
Yeah, and as underperforming as Necros are, trying to kill one on a melee class is terrifying. Just due to the amount of absorb and stuff they have due to buffs, like the Necro pet, the life taps.
Yep.
But so, like you said, if you address something like that, Necros need to be looked at anyway. I think in more of a macro sense, and not just change little things here and there. I think probably a decent sized revamp should happen to Necros to sort of make them more.
I also think PvE is at the point where most encounters, if you're going to small man them, are no longer as much reliant on pets' beefiness. So, like if they need to nerf the absorb of pets, I don't think many PvEers will complain because a lot of encounters that used to need pets, it's not so much of a factor anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Just because of focal myths and on Geharis because of the magic relic fragments.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, you used to damage shield down like everything. Is that not the case anymore?
Yeah. Not so much. I think on Yuane it might be useful for some people still, but I know in Geharis it's I used to focus pets for quite a bit, but not so much anymore. I think the only time I ever use focus pets is if it's really a true small man, like 2 or 3 people trying to take on these encounters. Otherwise, if we have a full group, it's just we just use a lot of pets.
Right.
Not single pets, but like a zerg of pets.
Like you'll
Whether
deal
that
a lot
be
of
animus
dirty
pets or Zergis
animus,
pets,
right.
or bone dancer pets. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Did the newsletter go out yet?
Yes.
It did.
How come I don't see it?
It's on the Herald. Scroll down a little bit. It's also on post count on the.
Oh, I thought they were mailing it.
Oh no.
They are. I got mine.
I was gonna say, I got mine.
Do you have Gmail or because in Gmail it's in the promotions section?
I thought you meant like mail, like real mail. It's like, no, I don't think they're doing that.
Uh,
Yeah, they're like special envelopes sealed
Yeah,
with
I
a kiss.
wish.
Talal, he comes and kisses every envelope.
Yeah.
No, I agree with what Kuji was saying, though. I don't know if it should be necessarily third only, but I'd often thought that things like that, different forms of pet killing / pet scare, should be looked at when we look at master level lines. Like that's an effective ability that would be useful in RVR that in some form should be considered. Like I know we already have the Cowering Bellow or whatever, but there should certainly be for PO-based classes something that is perhaps not class specific, but master level specific. That makes them more effective.
Right. Now, I know Kuj and I have talked a lot about this in the past, like privately and on the internal forums. It's a little offbeat here, but just trying to make casters and tanks a lot more synergetic. I don't know if that's a real word or not, but it sounds good. But
It is now.
yeah, increasing the synergy between like casters and tanks through a variety of reasons, or making, say, he had a cool idea about, for example, on shamans having buffs, essentially a short duration, little, with a mediocrely long cooldown, like of a minute or so, like a 10-15 second duration of having, click on a tank, you cast the buff, and it makes their strength go over the 155 buff cap. So like say, they can have 200 strength from buffs, just to sort of make the game a little more, I don't want to say timer based, but cooldown based. You have a lot more to do in a fight, like a lot more micro you can do. Like you can, while you're sitting there casting a disease on a shaman, you can target your Zerker and throw that buff on him, and then he can do a lot better for 15 seconds, do a lot more damage. Things like that to kind of make the game a little more, gives you a little bit more to do, and also increases the synergy between all the classes.
I'd definitely like to see more timered things available, and cooldowns are interesting. I know that's kind of a thing that people have debated for a while, but it could be a good way to go. But I'm definitely, one thing timer related I'm not a fan of is timer uses on items and how prevalent that's become and how much it matters in the game. Like I feel like it's a really, really clunky thing, that it just feels like, it's not a fun way to go about it, at least for me.
Yeah, do you mean by just as far as how you go about using the item? Like if you drop your weapons, if you're a tank, and wait 2 seconds,
Right.
and then, or do you mean how important they are?
And
to
then
the game?
also, well, both, but also mostly just how they're used. Like you have to use this one and then that one and then possibly that one, or if you
Right.
bug it out, you can make this stack, and it just is too powerful to be so clunky and buggy.
Right.
Not that it is especially, but I mean it feels that way after especially soloing a lot. You're like, oh god, if I'd only had this up and that and then this.
Right. Yeah, that's true. As far as you hear a lot of complaints about the stacking is what they call it. When you have a 500 melee output up, melee charge up, and SOM behind it, and possibly winged helm, things like that. It could really push a class to become overpowered if another class doesn't have those abilities up. Which I don't mind
really-
that too much, because you have to sacrifice certain things. I know templating now is a lot easier than it used to be, but you still have to make sacrifices to get toys like that in a template. And it's just like having RAs down to me and being high rank.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's not really the fact that it exists; it's the way that it functions. Like
Oh, yeah.
I'm not looking at a button that shows me how long it is until it's up again.
That's true.
And you're
Yeah.
having to like randomly,
Mhm.
it's just really, really your ability looks like it's up, but it's not actually up. Like if that could get fixed.
Oh yeah, I
That
agree
would
with
be
that. That would be
amazing,
that'd
yeah.
be awesome. Yeah, I'd love to see some tank abilities. Like ML10 Cloak, the resist charge, to where you didn't have to drop your
Mhm.
weapons, something like that. Kind of make it like the battler, use, because you can use that in combat. And that's great. I love that. As well as like when casters, the power charges on their champion staffs and the CL15 staffs, you can use those while casting. Whereas Pick Slayer and Cloth Cap, things like that, power charges, you have to stop casting and then wait another couple seconds after you use it.
Playing
to
touch
cast.
the door here.
Oh, yeah. Probably not a good idea to run in front of this.
Well, they usually like to go to the other side of this lake, I've found.
Oh, do they? Okay. Pop over there.
But I mean, I'm okay with touching the door at this point. We haven't seen anything at all.
I think I may go on the other side of this lake and then run back to the keep, turn the quest. I may have to call it a night there. I think the girlfriend has done dinner and requires my presence.
I hear you there. Yeah, I definitely. I came back from dinner with the in-laws, and I think I earned myself enough points there that I'm not going to get bugged. But
There you
if I
go.
want to keep an even slate, I need to.
You say people normally go up this hill or around the side? This little pocket back here.
Actually, I think I'm full of crap, and I was remembering a different battleground. So let's just.
We'll head back and turn the quest.
Yeah, normally most of the fighting in this BG are where we did the first mobs there in the lake, or the goblins. That's where most people go.
I will say that like I said a few months ago, I was helping a friend of mine, and I rediscovered how ridiculously fun BGs are. Maybe not to camp there all the time, but it is really fun to like be at obviously different levels, like 3 levels higher than you matters, and what kind of gear you have matters, and you're like waiting for a spell to go off. It feels like old Dark Age of Camelot,
I think we did a Knights Molvik Day. Did that a couple times. Can't remember how long ago. Maybe not quite a year now, but we did it in the past, and it was a blast. I think we did it on Heb, and I had a lot of fun doing that. I hadn't played Molvik in forever, or any battlegrounds for that matter. And like you said, like you find people that are blue, and big old grin comes on your face because you like 2 or 3 shot them.
I was bummed I missed those, honestly, because I think Molvik is probably my favorite battleground just because of the speed of everything. Like,
Right.
you can cast fast enough, you can move fast enough, you can swing fast enough,
Alien
but you still have to
DCs
make
take
choices.
Right.
It's fun.
I agree there.
Alien ZZs have left the server.
I think it's a good
But
middle
we
of the line
definitely,
PG.
yeah. But since we're about to call it here, I think we're definitely going to be doing this next week, and possibly even going to be posting on Post Count some possible topics or things we
Yeah,
might
that would
do.
be helpful.
So
That'd be great.
if you want to get interested in where we should be playing, and you want to splatter knights all over the map, that might be a thing next time.
Yep. Suggestions would be great.
Carol would love to see us knights splattered all over the battlegrounds. She would love it. She would YouTube it.
Sure.
Just saying.
I think Carol, from the last 88 draft, she took a highlight out of her little Twitch stream of me dying to 3rd pets on my bard, which was very nice of
Here's
her.
a question right before we go. Yeah, she posted all these, or hosted all these pictures she took of me running away from fights. She's like, every time I see your healer, it's running the other direction. No, but this guy's asking about the difference between, he says, Mercs versus BM Zerkers. He says, I can easily get groups on my BM and Zerker, and find it hard to get groups on my Alb equivalent. I've heard that argument, with the exception of the Berserker. I think we can all agree that the solid class in mid. I've definitely heard the argument that Blade Masters and to a greater extent Mercs are harder to get groups on.
Yep.
Albion has, because of the amount of classes, there's so many more classes, it's more difficult to get a desired spot because people are generally building a group around one, archetype or another. And when you get into Mercs, it's like you really have to have a group that wants to play around Mercs. We're hoping that the casual group finder is going to change that to an extent, that if people can start picking up groups, that they can start to remember that your group doesn't have to be perfect to have fun all the time.
Right.
Unless your name is Dag. Just kidding, sort of.
Wow.
But no, it is certainly an issue, and it's something that we consider all the time when we talk about, class balance or group balance, or realm balance. Just the differences. In some ways, Hibernia is easier because they only have 3 quote-unquote required support classes, so you can build a group easier. And Albion has so many, or in the past, people said, oh, you have to have a paladin for endurance. Well, now we know that's not such an issue because of some of the small changes that have been made. But yeah, I think we need to be looking at what can we do to make Mercs more reasonable and more desirable. And there are honestly a few ideas being floated around, but it's certainly a discussion we should have. So if you have any good ideas, feel free to bug us about it, either in game or in the stream or on post count in the forum. Private message any of us. We'd love to talk about it. So if you got any great ideas, feel free.
Oh, for sure, definitely. And to kind of touch on that, I think mercs kind of struggle in ALB, just because ALB has so many classes that are great. Like, the Minstrel, with the pet the way it is at the moment, it's a really good class. It's a great class, I think. It provides speed, it has tons of interrupts in the front, hard to CC, it has a great pet up there. You have an orange redcon pet. And you have the Armsman, which, you put a bunch of points into AOM, and you're just hard to kill, really beefy.
Yep.
You don't have to be as high rank. I think mercs also suffer from the fact that in order to be, I don't want to say effective, because you can be effective at a lower rank, but to be optimal, you need to have a high level of debt and a high level of charge. Whereas other classes like Armsmen, they just need debt. They need to get debt 9, and then they can start building their defense, like their AOM or whatever, or even their damage if they wish. So mercs have a way higher RP, or sorry, realm ability requirement. Maybe requirement's the wrong word, but I don't know. It's almost a requirement to me, I think.
It really is.
To be as useful as an Armsman.
I've heard it said a couple different things that are, fairly serious players I've heard say a few times, and both that you have to be 7L something or you have to be 9L something to even go out there. And that's a truly pervasive feeling that's based on a lot of, actual experience.
Right.
You're just not quite as effective. A third right out of the gate, even if they don't have, Bedazzling Aura, is still a darn good class.
Right. And like I said, Armsmans, you need to get, 404 for Det 9, and then you're set.
Right.
If you're still missing out on charge at that rank on, if you just go straight Det, which is a hugely important part for mercs. They're just, they're a good class, I think, but there's other outclasses are holding back because they're better.
Well, I look at for instance, Brute. I don't know if you guys have played with him much. He plays, daytime US.
Yep.
He leads multiple groups often of his guild, and they're very guild focused, and they try different things based on what they're into. They've tried the Reaver thing. They've ran Midgard. They like to run heavy tank groups and caster sidecars. They try different things, and they've done the Merc thing on and off, and just haven't been as excited about how long it takes to get them going as they have other classes. And it's definitely something that's not for the casual player, unfortunately, at the moment. And like Obi was saying, once you get them high roam rank, they're awesome. If you have a group that supports you, it's not that they're bad when they're low roam rank; they're just not as feasible.
Right.
And there's definitely, I talked about, and this was kind of a silly thing for a while. We were talking about Siege. How could Siege be more fun for different classes? Because right now, sure, heavy tanks can climb walls. What does a Merc do? Stands there and looks silly.
Right.
I was talking about.
They got to get their bruiser and they got to beat the door. That's their
That's
role.
right. They got to get the bruiser. Them and the clerics.
You got to level it to 10.
Pull out the short bow.
Pull out the short bow. But no, there's. I talked about having some kind of an area buff or effect that you could put up that takes down Siege, and not doors, but like walls. That dual wielders could have an aura that allows anybody within that radius, any melee within a 150, 200 unit radius, could get a
Sort of like
10
the Heart of
bonus to
Agamemnon on
attack.
Geharis, is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool. Todd has another.
But I mean, that's not.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was saying Todd has another, suggestion/question about. He's asking, do you think the RP requirement for classes needs to be lowered? Like we said, Armsmen or heavy tanks in general have a lower realm point or realm rank requirement than mercs, and we kind of discussed that before, as far as maybe giving them a free charge, maybe not a charge 9 or charge 5, but maybe a 5-minute reuse timer charge, and then they can go and spec that higher. So that it kind of helps, instead of having to be 7L4 to get that 9 charge 5, you have to be like 5L5 or something. Kind of helps it a little bit, helps them reach that where they need to be a little earlier. And we have discussions about that. But Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's an important discussion too. But do you remember how charge first existed? Like that you had, what was it? You had to have one player targeted, and you couldn't attack anything until you got to them, and it like gave you a speed boost, but it could be broken, and then it couldn't be broken. I mean, it was like before it was a realm ability, it was a character ability.
Right.
I can't recall if it was all three, but I know my Berserker had it.
Right.
It was really weird, and they've been kind of working it out. I really think, honestly, that the only thing that needs to happen to charge right now is it needs to be reduced in cost. Just if they knocked it down to even 3 points or something, because it really is a required thing for those classes.
Right.
It's not
Especially
something
at least
like,
for
oh,
light
you can
tanks.
choose this or this.
Yeah.
Yeah, for light tanks.
Right.
I'm not referring to Valks or anything, Reavers at all.
Right.
I think it should be decreased for light tanks, because their purpose, that is their defining role right there.
I agree with you there. But yeah, something like that would definitely help with the realm requirements of the class, which would be nice to help promote them. But you know, even if you have a rank 11 merc, there's still the way AL works right now. If you run, you know, just a kind of standard AL group like the Minstrel, Armsman, Capswork, third Cleric Friar, and then that third tank, or you know, fourth caster if you want. That's where the merc would fit. But mercs kind of shine at the offensive interrupt role, whereas AL doesn't really need another class up there because they have Minstrels, Clerics, the Armsman. You know, Sork has a bolt range metas and stuff. It's not necessary. Like almost a BM and a hip hybrid group, I think is kind of necessary due to the pet procs, the charge. You know, a hero doesn't really do that for you, and it doesn't fill the need that you need. But on ALB, you don't really have that need for the merc, since it's fulfilled with a third and a minstrel, and to an extent the armsman pushing. So it's more of a, you know, at that point you have a surplus of interrupts, whereas you can have something better.
And it's just kind of, I don't know, it's a delicate balance, because we start getting into like interrupts versus straight DPS, and you hear people whine about, oh, this Armsman hit me for this much, and you know, my Merc doesn't hit for that. And I remember when light tanks were just like totally destructive.
Right.
And we've kind of got light tanks into this interrupt role because of Banelord, I think.
Yeah, and also pet proc weapons, I think, are kind of also help push them towards that. Because I know when I run a BM or a Merc in a mid or hip hybrid, I expect them not to be a damage dealer up front. I expect them to kind of, at least in the two tank hybrids that I play in a lot, I almost expect them just to run around, hit a target till the pet procs, and then swap. And then if you can, help spike down the target with the damage.
But I think we need to consider, like, obviously we have, but as a community, we need to consider: do we really want them to continue to be interrupts, or should we be considering the DPS angle? Should they once again be the highest DPS out there? And does that mean we're reducing other DPS, or does that mean we're boosting them? And how's that going to fit? Because they're definitely in a role that I think 10 years ago nobody would have considered.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I'll agree there.
So, quick question for you. How do you guys feel? So we're talking about light tanks getting a reduced version of charge. What would you do for the Savage?
I think Savage is really good as they are. And the reason for that is, they have charge, which helps. But you don't own a Savage, you almost don't have to have as high of a charge as a light tank. Savages also put out a hell of a lot more DPS. The spike potential
DPS
on the spike potential on the Savage is incredible compared to a Merc or a BM, and arguably a Zerk. Zerk gets a massive spike every 7.5 minutes or whatever Zerker is, or Vindo. But Savages, they can just quad hit you at any given point and hit you for 800 to 1,000 damage. And they're also if you want to, you can play really defensively on a Savage as well. All classes pretty much have the front the side and the back snare. And Savages are different, but they also go bodyguard if they want to, and I don't know, they just have a lot more going for them, I think, right now than light tanks. They're kind of a different role.
And I think that they're absolutely at the top of the chain as far as starting on at low realm rank. Like, I made another Savage with a friend a couple of years ago, not even a couple, like a year and a half ago, just to prove that they were tough, and he made a Berserker, and I made a Savage, and we small manned and played during the day a lot, and it was no question. Like, the Savage just is so much more effective, even at low realm rank, even with low charge, even with low dead. That spike DPS is just huge. I wouldn't put them as, what I'm saying is, I wouldn't put them in the same category as Blade Masters and Mercs
Right.
and even Berserkers.
I agree there.
As far as if we're considering charge, that we definitely can't just lump them in.
Right. Yeah, I don't think they should deserve a reduced charge. Yeah, Pythion made the comment of helping out Bane Lords, which I think could be a good option because light tanks rely kind of on the Bane Lords also. Even if they're just looking at putting out damage, the Bane Lord helps interrupt a healer to kill a target, and also obviously helps in the interrupt department. But if you wanted to look at maybe changing the duration, or not the duration, sorry, the reuse timer on Bane Lords. Right now they're 5 minutes, which is relatively short, but those 3 Bane Lords can go pretty quick in a fight. Also, you get Bane Lords like Zone of Mana, Demoralization, which are super good Bane Lords. Like, the effects on them they're great, but the only issue is they don't interrupt when you cast them. So if you hold out your
They
Zone
did
of Mana,
once.
yeah, they did once, but unfortunately, right now they don't interrupt anymore. And a lot of the times, at least a lot of the light tanks I play with, and when I play a Bane Lord class, I try to save those until I see a mock. I'll Zone of a Mana, a support mocking or a third mocking or something, and I'll demoralize or use demoralization when I see a damage caster mocking, like a Cabalist or something, because that'll really affect their the damage they can put out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're using your interrupting spells as debuff spells because they don't interrupt. Also, it'd be nice if you could hit Zone of Mana on the third that mocks and also interrupt the Sorcerer they're casting. But right now,
Yeah.
I think that's definitely, now that we've addressed other mass interrupt issues, in the past few years, I think we really should consider that, making those Bane Lord spells interrupt again. And I don't know if this is probably too much to get into at once, but we also have been discussing the state of Bone Dancers, and I am very much a fan of either reducing the life tap timer back to the 4 seconds that it originally was, or making the debuff interrupt again.
right?
Yeah.
I'm with you there. Yeah. I like the you had, I think, 2-3 years ago when the resist debuff did interrupt. It was a good time for Bone Dancers, I think, and that was before they made it with the pet split, I believe, as well. I think they kind of nerfed both of those at the same time, the pet split and the resist debuff interrupting. I think if you went back and just made it to where the resist debuff interrupts, or like you said, change the life tap to a lower timer, but I don't know the ramifications that's going to have on solo or small man play. If
Well,
it's too good there or not.
It's one of two things, really,
Yeah.
because you're either making them a better interrupter, or if you reduce the life tap, you're effectively making them a high DPS caster if there's suppression, which wouldn't necessarily be bad, because we've talked about the ineffectiveness of a spirit train, even though that's really a body nuke. It's still got a self debuff.
Right.
We just need to consider, like, where should the Bone Dancer fit in, and I'm curious what other players think, because I've heard about it up and down from everybody I've played.
Right. Yeah, I've played with a bunch of different styles of Bone Dancer over the last year. A lot like to have them in the back, suppression spec, and they use a life tap. It's essentially a guaranteed crit on their nuke to kind of help, boost the backline DPS, or essentially be the hardest hitting caster to do their life tap. And I've also played with the Bone Dancers that like to play a little more forward and use the go darkness, have the red resist debuff, and they can body debuff root someone for a lot longer than they could without the body debuff. I personally really enjoy the concept and the actually playing the Bone Dancer when it was more of an interrupting class. Like, you'd go in and dink and stuff. But I do think that mid would do pretty well with a little bit more damage on the subtrain. So it's kind of both ways would be nice. And even if you did lower the life tap to 4-second reuse timer, you could still do very well interrupting. You'd have a 4-second instant interrupt. You'd be better off having the resist buff interrupting, obviously, but you'd still be a lot better than you are now at interrupting.
At the man, that yeah, it's a little different now that the that shouldn't break CC. But now what was I saying? Sorry, I got a little distracted. The no, the but the life tap thing, I kind of is obviously what I prefer. You can tell from my point of view about everything. I liked when it was 4 seconds because I knew it was a lot more like a scald. You were like
Yep.
a push caster almost, and you could
Right.
get in there and like be casting on one guy, target another guy in between casts, and it was really, I don't know, it was a lot more fun, and I stopped wanting to play the Bone Dancer after I didn't have those kind of interrupts. It was like, what's my purpose now? I'm not really an interrupter.
Right.
Well, I think a lot of players felt that way, and that's why you don't see so many BDs because of,
And the pet not in. I'm happy that the pets now don't split assist. I thought that was just too easy. I guess if that makes any sense.
Right.
But I know a lot of people don't agree with that.
yeah, that pet assist was pretty nasty when you could split them.
Yeah.
But obviously this is an ongoing discussion. So if you have any feedback about that, please let us know. Find us on either post count or in game.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and take off. Really appreciate you guys joining in and asking questions and giving comments and suggestions to us. Really appreciate it. I believe we'll be doing it next weekend, Sunday, probably around the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. I think is when we'll probably do it. And
Yep. Hey, Obi,
yes.
if you don't mind, I want to do a quick 10-second plug for our good friend Saxion Ian. For those of you guys that haven't played Gaheris, there's this great guild out there called Grace Guild that's run by
God.
Saxiana, and they're recruiting. So please reach out to them. Good bunch of people. Gives you a different aspect of DAC, and they're very helpful.
Nice. And yeah, I would also, in our parting comments, say, can we please get Harris on the preferred servers list and not on its own
yes.
list?
Yes.
So, much love. See you guys next week.
Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys
Thanks, everyone.
later.
Thanks very much.